Oh, well, hello, everybody. We are already back. I believe I may have bitten off more than I'm willing to chew on this one, too. This is for the unofficial, but yet somehow official picks champion, Nico, over the Mexico run. And he asked me if I could rank the years of Phish. And I knew right away I cannot rank all 40 years. And then when I started to chop away at this, I realized, okay, the top four are pretty easy. Like, I feel pretty solid about my top four. And then even the bottom three, I think I'm confident in. Then there's several years, several of the more recent years that I'm like, okay, I'm undecided on these. I know they weren't like in the very bottom, but I would need to take another look. There's some years that I'm like, you know what? I never really got real deep into those years. These years I have forgotten. And then there's about 8 years that are kind of like picking your favorite songs, just years 5 through 13 or whatever. Just like good luck trying to put those in order of your favorites. There's some personal bias, I'm sure. I did start to notice years that had great shows from Dayton or even Ohio in general, stuff that I listened to a lot from the beginning of being a fan all the way up through now. So maybe that did push that stuff up, but I think as you'll see, maybe not so much. Like that was my initial thought. Then I was like, but it's not like, it's not like I'm saying the year 2000 was their best ever because they had a great Dayton show or something. That didn't happen, but saying like 97 was great and throwing Dayton in the mix as part of the reason why I think is pretty makes sense. So let's just start, shall I say, with the top four. Like I said, it was fairly easy to me. 1 and 2, really all four in order was pretty easy to me. And it doesn't really change much. Possibly 3 and 4 could change, but 1 and 2 are a solid they're there. And it's 1994 coming in at number 1. I've rambled on long enough. I'll just finally spit it out. And it wasn't just the summer. While summer of 94, I would also put probably ahead of fall of 97 as my favorite tour. It's so close, it's pick one either way. If you flipped a coin and whatever side it lands on, you're getting a really outstanding tour. If you wanted to throw in summer of 93 in there and then even winter of 95, maybe if you had a 4-sided coin. But for me, summer of 94, and then it wasn't just that summer. What put it above every other year was the other shows that year, the fall. It had a Halloween show that was outstanding. It had the infamous Great Woods show, again, Columbus, Ohio, the Bomb Factory, Sugar Bush, Red Rocks, the New Year's run that I mentioned, the OJ show. They played Dayton in the fall. That was so they had a couple of Ohio shows that year high on the list, and many others. Those are just ones that really just jumped out to me right away. A lot of those official releases. As another indicator of a pretty solid year, if the band is realizing and the people behind that realize this is a show that needs to be given the live Phish treatment. And then you see it's like, oh my, almost every show that month at this point. A lot of summer 94 in there. Sugar Bush has always been one of my favorites. The Columbus show, the Red Rock show, the OJ show. I mean, all of these would be, amongst my favorite shows. And then Halloween that year. Just all of that, really. And then another 25 shows that I could mention that were really good. Like, even when you got to the shows, like, it's hard to say the bad shows that year. But, like, I think maybe Cleveland or something from that summer was like an outstanding show, but it's like the 40th rated show or something on .net I saw. I was like, wow. But, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I wanted to be like, well, that's insane. But then when you look at all the stuff above it, it's like, all right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. And then occasionally I still discover stuff from fall of 94 that absolutely blows me away. Stuff that I either haven't heard in 20 years or just hearing for the first time, maybe. Maybe there's finally a good soundboard of it or something. So then we move on to 1997, and it really was mostly about the fall of 97. While summer had some good stuff, Shoreline jumps out as one of the good ones. You had Hampton, Dayton, Philadelphia, Michigan, Colorado, the E Center, the New Year's Eve run, all of that from fall and winter of 97, just absolutely amazing. Amsterdam from the Europe run. But the one thing that probably held it back were the amount of bad shows. Unlike 94, there was actually, believe it or not, some bad stuff in 97. Not a lot of it from fall, but London, Germany, even a few shows here in the States throughout the summer. Not much, like I said, though, not much sprinkled in the fall. So really, and it was I probably prefer the over. It's hard to say I prefer it though, because I equally probably love that rockin' just straight. We are here to knock people on their ass. 94 sound, just full of energy, hunger, and then by the time you get to 97, it's way more laid back, way more funky, way more jammy, but also very good. Like two very different bands, just that quickly, but yet the two best years on the books for me. And then we get to 93 with August of 93 being arguably the greatest month they've ever had, maybe. I mean, consistently, speaking of shows that get officially live Phish released. So many of them from that one. Again, another New Year's show. Then you go in early in the year, there was stuff like Roxy that was outstanding. Another Red Rock show, St. Louis, Kansas City. The Murat Gin from Indy, another Cleveland show that was really good. And then... while that doesn't compare to 94 and 97, I would say it is head and shoulders above even a year like 2015 or 2003, years that I think were very good. Like, they just cannot compare to 93. And then you move on to 1995, the New Year's Eve 95, arguably, for some people, it is the number one show. And then really that whole month, December of 95, one of the few months that could rival August of 93. And then an outstanding Halloween show. Again, another Dayton show. Fall of 95 at the Nutter Center. Their first Nutter Center show, actually. And they had played they had a Dayton show in 94. I don't even think I mentioned. They played Harrah Arena that fall of 94. Part of the entire year being awesome. Also a part of the Dayton/Ohio theme of my list. They played The Man in 95. They didn't just play it. They absolutely rocked The Man in 95. You would think a bit of a transition year, saying how they were in 94 through 97. The jamming had certainly picked up at this point. And, Blossom that summer, again, another Ohio show. I think I mentioned Red Rocks in Deer Creek, also from 95. So those were the four solid, those are my top 4 years. And then you get into the other years that would probably be in that 5 through 11 range, but it's just so hard to put them in order. 2003, a year I went to a lot of shows, a year that I was probably the most I've ever been on board with the band was 2003. So possibly, I rank it a little bit higher. Some people may not have that anywhere near the 11 best years of Phish. 99, 98, 96, 2015, 2017, 2021, all of those, it is very hard to separate. I'd have to really take a long, hard, deep look and be maybe look at the amount of shows, the consistency throughout the years. Then you get into possibly individual songs, preferred styles, how well they were playing some years. I mean, to have 96 outside your top 10 would seem impossible, but I feel the same way about 99 and 03 and 2015 and 17. So maybe we should mention the bottom 3 for sure. That's another thing. I didn't know how long I wanted this video to go. For someone whose videos are normally 5 to 8 minutes long, I feel like this could have easily been an hour-long video. I don't know how much time you got, Nico. You're like, well, I didn't need you to go this deep, my man. Could have just sat there and ranked them. Number 1, 1994. Number 2, 1997. Number 3, 1993. That would have been a hell of a list. So let's get to the bottom 3. And it's really hard to say that 2009 would be in the bottom 3 because it was such a fun, exciting time that they were back. And there was good stuff in there, So saying that, the same thing with 04, a lot less good stuff. And 2010 as well. Now, also should mention there's years that are just incomplete on my list. 11, 12, and 13, for example. like I've heard stuff, I know stuff, but I just don't feel like I should even. I just don't feel like I don't know it well enough to even separate those. Was there enough good stuff in 13 to put it over in the 11 through 12 range? You know. Same thing with 90, 91, 92. Like I just have forgotten. I can't say I'm like a Phish historian who's just like boom without a whole lot of looking back and spending a lot of time separating 90, 91, and 92. Now, I know enough that I could separate 93 from those and 94, 88 and 89 as well, 83 through 87. I'm just like, I can barely count that as like Phish just yet, you know. 88 is starting to, 88 and 89 is probably, I'm sure 1990 was really good, you know, now that I am starting to, conjure up some memories. 1990, actually. I do, and I mean, look, 1998 or 1989, actually, that August 26th show, one of the probably most outstanding shows they've ever played. I never like saying that because it's like, wow, you think 1989 they were almost at their best? Well, for that one show, for sure. So 09, 2010, 2004, I have as the bottom three. I think I can safely say that 2004 was the worst year they've ever had. Worse than even 1983. And it was barely a year for them, you know. The cafeteria show was better than Coventry. And yes, there was some good stuff in '04. So I was at one of the shows at Alpine in '04. There was some good stuff there. But it's like, there's so much bad. And if '09, had some good feelings because they were back, well then I think you certainly would have to say that '04 comes with some bad feelings. I mean, thankfully Trey pulled through it all. Everything's all well, but it certainly didn't look good in '04. The playing wasn't well. It was a shortened year. It was like an abrupt end after what was such a strong '03. That was the other thing. The just like the whiplash. They're back. Ooh, what the hell's wrong? Oh my God, they're done. And like that, at the time, it did not feel like it was going to be the hiatus. So I feel pretty good about saying '04 is the worst year ever, even if there was some good stuff there. Even if you can sprinkle in and find some good stuff at Coventry. You know, '04, it's like Mel Gibson or something. Yeah, there's some good stuff there, some good films. It's a good actor, but there's just, I mean, how much evidence do you need that this is horrible? This is a horrible person, really, you know? I'm not even talking about the stuff he said to his girlfriend. It's pretty much how Mary talks to me, so that's normal. But other than that, does a handful of bright spots outweigh the bad? I don't think so. And then '09 and '10, it's just like I don't know. It's shocking that a band that had been together so long and things had went so well all the way up through 2000 and then '03. But it's like when it crashed and burned in '04, putting the pieces back together took a while. And I also feel okay commenting on '09 and '10 because I attended shows those years. '09, I'm sure I heard every show. Now by 2010, after the shows I attended, maybe I wasn't listening to every single show. And then this is the other one. Now even if I didn't feel like I wanted to take the time to dive all the way into 11, 12, 13, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 14, 16, 18, 19, and 2000. Those are 5 years that all just seem like, I know there was some good stuff in there. Now, would those fall closer to the bottom? Like, I feel like summer of 19 was good, but wasn't fall of 19 really bad? And wasn't summer of 18 like really average? 2016 felt like maybe like one of those transition years. I know 14 was, things were heating up enough to where I was completely all back on board. So 14, 16, 18, 19, and even the year 2000, a polarizing year, really. Not that it was horrible. One thing I remember and had the memories conjured up, I guess I'll say again, back sometime this year, listening to some shows from that late in the year in 2000, leading up to the September beginning of the hiatus. Just you could almost hear the exhaustion in them, and then you start reading and hearing stories, and it's like, oh yeah, they were basically running on fumes, not just from the end of that tour at the end of that year, where are we headed when this ends here in a few weeks? I mean, it was a decade of going pretty hard. Many festivals thrown in there. Just like now the schedule, if they play 40 shows in a year, it seems like a lot. I didn't even get a count on some of these years, but it was certainly over 40. And by that time, they did not, I don't know if burnt out is the right word or not, but it had certainly, at the time when I first got into the band, it was like 2000 was easily the worst year of the band. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, though, but I would probably put it in there somewhere with the 14, 16, 18, and 2019. I don't know, it's 11, 12, and 13, or 11 and 12, probably more near the bottom. 90, 91, 92. I think like 90 and 91, there was even some of those shows, some of the horn stuff I didn't love, although now maybe I would appreciate it more. There was part of a year taken up opening up for Santana, so you didn't get complete shows. The playing, I'm sure, was a combination of like Phish comedy, like involving the fans, just kind of an exciting energy, tight playing. All the songs back then, absolutely amazing. So I'm guessing if I were to continue this, 90, 91, and 92 are certainly going to be above anything in 3.0. As well as probably 88 and 89. But it's hard to say. And I do feel pretty strongly, though, about having 15, 17, and 21 up there. Not only for me, I thought those were great years. So you could say that, like, well, you got a little personal bias there because you liked those years. You went to many shows those years. And, well, maybe not 21, but 15 and 17 attended. 17, damn. Only went to the Nutter Center and, Dayton. Rearing its ugly as the baker's dozen in 2017. And 2015 was one of those years. It was like that whole summer was outstanding. But I don't know if the entire year was. All right, so I've said enough. I don't know if I really, although I am kind of curious just for myself about these late 3.0 years and the year 2. Where does 2000 compare to, say, 2016? 2003 versus 91. I don't know. It's tough to say. 2019 versus 99 and 90. I think 99 probably wins that one. Some good stuff in 99. It's amazing that throughout the hiatus and going into 2.0, that 99 and 2000 were really not looked upon favorably. They sucked. All right, boom. Not the case, though. Turns out some really great stuff in there. December of 99, I feel like there's some gems. That was not I don't think the Pyramid was that. Or maybe the Pyramid was what, September of that year? Anyways, all right, that's enough. Nico, thank you for always playing along with the picks, and congratulations. And I'm sure there's a whole lot of this that was, even the years that I loved, I'm sure there's many things that I left out. If you're arguing for 04, you're probably not going to win the argument with me. If you wanted to stick up for 2009 and 10, I'd probably hear you out. If you got any arguments for 14, 16, and what's up with the even number of years, 14, 16, and 18? What was it? Was fall of 19. I feel like 19 was strong, but fall, Alpine 19, that gives it a boost. What was going 1991 versus 2011? I just feel like those early 90s are probably always going to win. I mean, an abbreviated show opening for Santana had to be better than a lot of, these shows in 2011 where they were playing 24 songs and there was no jamming and you got number lined every other night. Well, you got Friday in 03, and I thought it was a really good year. That's it. Boom. We're out of here. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, really appreciate it. Usually I don't do videos that go beyond the 5 to 10 minute range. Don't have that much in me. Boom. Can we get to 19? Let's not get into that just yet.